Captainmidnight.
To state the obvious here, it's generally not good talk show etiquette to trash the project another guest on the show is promoting right to their face. And yet that's exactly what Norm Macdonald did on Conan O'Brien's show in the summer of 1997.
If it's got Carrot Top in it, you know what a good name for it would be?
What's that, Norm?
Box office poison.
Unlike previous segments I've spotlighted in this little talk show series I've been doing this year, this wasn't some catastrophe. It turned into a highlight of Norm, Conan, and guest Courtney Thorne-Smith's careers. I'm really not sure how much of an audience there is for this video, but I really wanted to dig into this interview. I really like that this wasn't a train wreck. It was a comedian at the top of his game managing a high wire act that you rarely see pulled off or even attempted on television. I also enjoyed how Conan handled it and how Courtney Thorne-Smith rolled with the punches and helped make what could have been a really awkward situation into talk show gold. And if you find yourself watching through this video and you enjoy it, I'd really appreciate a like, so I'll know to make more videos like this. Around half this interview is pretty standard talk show stuff. Courtney Thorne-Smith comes out, there's some banter, and then Conan starts asking about her show Melrose Place, the Fox primetime soap opera that she was just about to leave. She talks about her reasons for leaving, saying she just feels like they've already done everything they can with her character after 5 seasons. And man, when she lays it all out, you really get hit with how much more just happened in 5 seasons of a serialized show back then. They used to burn through plots like crazy. If they made Melrose Place now, it would probably be in like its 30th episode or something by season 5. I'm getting off track here. This is where Norm really butts in for the first time and establishes that he's not gonna let them just hit the usual interview beats. First, he acts like he hasn't been paying attention.
Are you talking about Melrose Place? No, because
You're the biggest ass I ever met.
He's never seen the show, but he lives on the actual Melrose Place and starts talking about all the fat tourists taking pictures that the show attracts. It's a little awkward, and Conan is pretty quick to smooth things over. One thing that's worth noting before we go into the rest of this is Conan was apparently very concerned that Thorne-Smith was hating the roasting of her projects here. In an interview with Team Conan a few years ago, she talked about how Conan immediately checked in with her to make sure she was okay with how everything went, which she turned out to be baffled by because she thought it was clearly her favorite interview that she'd ever done on a talk show. So it's kind of funny to hear that some of the tension coming from Conan here was real, and also that Thorne-Smith was actually having a good time and not just putting on a show. Though I can see why Conan asked, because when they start talking about her new movie with Carrot Top, Norm jumps in with a pretty reasonable and devastating question.
wait a minute, she left Melrose Place to do a movie with Carrot Top?
That's where I'm going, my friend.
Which does, in fact, seem like a horrible career move in retrospect. For those who don't know him, or maybe only know him from Family Guy, Carrot Top was an incredibly popular comedian in the mid-90s. For a time, he had the highest grossing stand-up tour, endless TV ads, movie deals. He had really blown up at this point in time. But a lot of people, especially comedians, and I highly suspect Norm, really saw him as the height of hacky, relying on prop comedy and over-the-top physicality really more than anything else. In that more recent interview, Courtney Thorne-Smith said that she did the movie because she thought maybe it could help her career in the same way that Courtney Cox doing Ace Ventura: Pet Detective had, Jim Carrey's first big movie, which had just come out a few years before. By the time she had to actually promote the Carrot Top movie though, she knew it hadn't turned out well, and she wasn't super eager to talk about it, even though she was contractually obligated to do so. Luckily for her, Norm was more than happy to jump in. After joking around about a love scene with Carrot Top in the movie, referencing 9.5 Weeks, a movie very controversial for its sex scenes 10 years earlier, Norm doesn't miss a beat.
Is it called 9.5 Seconds? Like he's premature ejaculated.
We got it. You know what happened? He said 9.5 seconds, and I'm looking at him because I know there's more.
After they settle down from that, Conan asks what the movie is called, giving us Norm's most iconic line of the segment.
I know what it's going to be called.
Yeah, what's that?
If it's got Carrot Top in it, you know what a good name for it would be?
What's that, Norm?
Box office poison.
And look, I get in the context of podcasts now, this probably isn't all that shocking. Still funny, but maybe not the knockout moment it used to be. In 1997, this was just not something done on talk shows. Something Conan and Courtney make pretty clear.
What about my career?
Courtney Thorne-Smith, the girl sitting to your left, is in the movie.
Norm is happy to say that he'll see it for her. Then she finally gives the name of the movie.
There's this movie coming out.
Yes.
Title undetermined at this point.
Chairman of the board.
Oh, all right. Do something with that, you freak.
I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D.
That kills, and with it, Conan kicks to a commercial break, promising a collective soul song when they come back. Which isn't important, but is a very 1997 moment that I really appreciated. Like I said, Courtney Thorne-Smith herself really enjoyed the interview. Someone who was less of a fan, to this day it seems, was Carrot Top. On an episode of the TMG podcast a while back, he talked about the incident, and the way it's stuck in his head seems to be pretty different from the segment that we all watched. First, he says that Chairman of the Board was a good movie, and then launches into his version of the events.
Yeah. You quit Melrose Place to go into movies with Carrot Top? She goes, no, I didn't quit. It was one movie, and Scott, he's the nicest guy in the world, and he's actually a great actor. And he's like, no, but go back to this. So why would you go? Why would you go do a movie with Carrot Top? And and she kept trying to defend me. She's like, it was great fun. It was a great movie, and he's a sweet guy. And then he's just like, I just don't get it. And he wouldn't let it go.
I thought this was pretty funny because while Courtney did say that Carrot Top was sweet and that he had a great work ethic on the movie, she never once said that she thought the movie was great or even good. She also said in that recent interview that she knew it wasn't, and between my vague memories of it on cable and a look at its Rotten Tomatoes page, I think it's safe to say that she was in the majority on this one. Carrot Top also frames it like Norm was interrogating her, like this was Frost Nixon or something, when everyone, especially her, was clearly just having a good time. I'm gonna just rampantly speculate here and say I don't think this was Carrot Top intentionally lying. It seems more like part of a story that he tells himself to explain how much hate he got in the 90s. Because, make no mistake, hanging over every moment of the Chairman of the Board section of this interview is the assumption that Carrot Top's comedy is just really, really lame. It's pretty well known that there's not a lot of love for prop comics with other comedians, and though Conan does say earlier that he doesn't know much about Carrot Top, it is pretty telling what he does say about him.
Oh, in the movie they took his props away?
They took his props away.
That's a bad time to suddenly take away everything you know about comedy. You know, you've been using props now all your life for comedy. Now we're gonna take them away when you make your first movie.
Out of everything said in this segment, I don't think anything is as brutal towards the guy than Conan O'Brien saying props are all he knows about comedy. That had to hurt, so I get it. Carrot Top's popularity had faded even by the time of this interview, and though he'd go on to a very long-running Vegas residency, it's clear, to me at least, that he never really recovered from the overall cultural backlash and failed to really ever get the recognition of his fellow comics. Going back to Norm, this interview is just Norm Macdonald encapsulated, showing why he got hired on SNL, the qualities that made him successful on it for years, as well as some things that point to why they eventually fired him. He always had a talent for going into a space and really puncturing its sense of self-importance or imposed conventions. Now this works perfectly on Conan's show, which was more than happy to lean into that, but it's far more awkward and gets into great cringe comedy territory when he's like ripping SNL apart in his opening monologue when he went back on the show, or in my favorite example, that time he co-hosted an official early YouTube award show, showing up in a hoodie and sweatpants and mocking the event at every turn, making the whole thing way more memorable. It is sad that Norm Macdonald left us when he did, because I think his talents, which always did shine through on network TV, are even more suited to our far stranger current era of entertainment. His old podcast was a great example of that, and man do I wish it were still around today. Still, this segment, as light as it is, showed us how much he could elevate what could have been a very forgettable interview about the Carrot Top movie into a beloved and classic TV moment that people are still talking about almost 30 years later. Okay, to be real, I was really nervous going into The Dinner Plan. I really wanted it to be good and easy to recommend. Thankfully, it definitely was. It's a new film from Patrick H. Willems, whose work you're probably familiar with on here, and he completely nailed it. The Dinner Plan is funny, smart, and cringy in all the right ways. If you're into the idea of a cringe comedy that stars Griffin Newman from the Blank Check podcast, Zach Cherry from Severance, and John Hodgman from like every great sitcom of the last 30 years, you can't go wrong with this one. And you can watch it starting November 26th on Nebula. Now, I know you've probably heard me talk about Nebula before, but if you've been on the fence, you can now check it out with a free trial, so why not try it? It's the best place for creators and viewers looking for something new, creative, and different. All my videos are on there ad-free, plus Nebula exclusives, like my in-depth thoughts on the new Buffy reboot. Right now, you can join for 40% off, just $36 a year or $3 a month. Lifetime memberships are normally $500, but are only $300 with my discount at go.nebula.tv/CaptainMidnight. And it's the perfect time of year to grab a gift card for friends or family. Just scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description or pinned comment down below.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free gifts and prizes too.